Oh, yes. Let's hit that music.
In a flat up in Chicago with a keyboard and some tea lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius! He's got a
Good
plugin
morning,
for
everybody.
that.
Hey, it's
Clicks.
It is, I should have faded that out. That was abrupt. It's 10:03. We're a couple minutes late. I had to get my coif adjusted. Just kidding. I have a little bedhead going on. Friday, December 12th. Very excited to be here. I actually had a wonderful evening yesterday. I went to a new, I don't know what you call it, like a business roundtable meeting. It was like a dinner meeting, invited by my friends Harry and Steve, lifelong friends, also customers using the AI system. And what I got the opportunity to do is to meet a bunch of folks. And by the way, good morning to everybody. How's the sound here? Hey, Lloyd, how's the sound? I got a chance to discuss with some more real life folks, not in a virtual way, what is going on with AI and why they need it in their business. Boy, I'm looking at my hair here and it's just going wild and crazy. The basic premise of today's show is why your business needs AI today and how to get there in 3 minutes. And the reason was because during the real life dinner conversation, we actually just had cocktails and stuff. A couple of the folks said, kind of like the kid in Bad Santa. If you ever seen that movie with Billy Bob Thornton, I kept introducing some higher level concepts just to kind of set the stage of what we're talking about. And one woman who was really right on was asking, but why? Like what? How do I use this? And it occurred to me that I spend a lot of my time in the mechanics of what it is that I'm building and what it is that it means for somebody who's, let's say, familiar with WordPress, but that I haven't spent a lot of time just doing the basic 101 stuff. And that is, why does a business need something? How are they going to use it? What is the reason that this is going to help them? Where will they find it most useful? I mean, literally the 5 W's and the H, right? Or the 4 and the H. So I thought today I'm going to do that, but I'm going to also do that in the context of the simplicity of how to set this up, because I think that's not to be overlooked. So I don't have a formal slide deck, but I am going to take Spence. I'm going to push me over to the side here. Goodbye, Spence. Good morning, Dr. Krieger. Thank you for joining us today. And actually, yesterday I had a very nice call with Dr. Krieger, getting him set up on his cursor. I have some feedback, not just from Dr. Krieger, but from everybody about the best tool for the job. I'm thinking about how I want to set this up. I think I'm going to put my StreamYard thing below, even though sometimes I have to look down. I do not know what happens when I drag this thing into my window below. Everything shrinks. Okay, I think that's going to work. Now, let me actually share. I'm going to share just the browser window to start. I know I've had this happen to me before, and I've regretted it, but I'm going to do it. I have no idea. Sorry, guys. I feel like every week I do this to you. I can't tell on StreamYard which window is which. My goodness. It's like the very first time I've done a live show. I think this is it. It just looks weird because I'm stretched out here. Okay. Let me, I'm not stretched out. The window's stretched out. There we go. I'm going to use this window that has 1,000 tabs open, and hopefully I can make this fit a little better. There we go. Okay. It's good to be back here at the Dexter Lake Club. Let me actually start out. I'm going to go to InstaWP. I want to have a concept of what we're talking about in relationship to the tools that you would use. First of all, maybe what I should also do is let me start out by saying I have 2 main products available. If you go to WP Launchify, and again, this isn't a sales pitch. This is a pitch about which tools and why. I have 2 products available. I have the full MinuteLaunch AI, which is essentially the MinuteLaunch bundle of 3 things, right? All the traditional software you would ever need, which has about 122 plugins, many of which I either write or am involved in. Besides these plugins, which are becoming less and less relevant, It has unlimited email support from me, which is a big conversation, and it's fully hosted on Rocket, which means you have the environment that's ready to rock. If you think of this as a service, like you're an agency client, it makes a lot of sense. That $97 a month or $970 a year has been bread and butter for me for a long time. The MinuteLaunch AI adds the whole suite of modern MinuteLaunch tools. You can kind of see them here. The MCP connectors, the image creation tools, the things that allow AI to do magic tricks are included with the regular software, along with unlimited email from me and along with hosting. And this MinuteLaunch AI really provides the foundation for everything. However, it's a service. So over the Black Friday, I released an alternative version of what I offer, which is called FluentMCP. And with this, just imagine if I took a subset, maybe I took 3 of the key products, FluentCart, FluentCRM, FluentCommunity. I added to it a bunch of the WordPress essential tools, and I made it where you could buy it once. Now, I offered this for Black Friday as a single site, 3 sites, or 10 sites. This is pay for it once, and here's the difference. You host it. You own it. Your clients own it. There is no service involved. Literally, there is no service, no support, other than the plugins will continue to be updated, of course. And there is the ability to get service. So you could, for example, take a concierge support hour from me and I help you or your client set it up. You can do it fully hosted for a year and do it that way, which actually makes a lot of sense. So you could sort of buy a year instead of whatever, a fully hosted, unlimited email support, security, and updates. Or you could go with this VIP experience, which many of my clients do. That expense takes you from where you're at to where you need to go for your whole business. This actually is the thing that also gives access to the VIP community, where I've got dozens and dozens of other folks who have gone through this experience, and they can share their business acumen as well as their experiences with using the products. These are the 2 ways that I deliver it. Now, in the conversation I had yesterday, and let's just go ahead and we're going to do this from scratch. I was explaining to people the who, what, when, where, why, and I'll just do, we'll call this office hours 12. I was explaining to people that the primary benefit of what we do with AI is to replace the mundane tools, the tasks that human beings right now are forced to use for any business, but specifically if you're already using these kinds of things. Let's go to my favorite tool, Whimsical, and make a little drawing there. I think that if we do this, it's going to help me also share with you guys. So the basic idea is if we use this, we call it tools we use. Tools we use are things that right now, metaphorically, and we'll call this office hours 12:12. You guys can share this, by the way. I'll put the link in here. You can join me in the joy of this whimsical board. Tools that you can use are things like if we went to the Home Depot and we needed to do some landscaping, you would go to the shovel section and there'd be 1,000 shovels at Home Depot, right? Home Depot shovels. There must be 1,000 different shovels that you can buy, quite literally. I've been there before because I used to build houses for a living. And I can tell you that endless array of shovels. Look at the joy of all these shovels. Now, if I was going to do landscaping today, I would use a different tool. I would use the telephone or the internet, and I would hire a guy. Good morning, Julie. I would hire a guy to dig the hole in my backyard. I've had 5 back surgeries. I can do a lot of things physically. Digging holes in the backyard is not one of the things I want to expend whatever energy my back has left on doing. I'd rather play pickleball. Think of the same thing for your business. So for the what are we doing? Let's do this little fun stuff. What? We are replacing the tools we use with AI. Okay. The tools we use are things in our digital space like content creation. By the way, let's see if I can also do a list here. It would be amazing. I don't know if there's a tool for that, so I'm just going to do it manually. Oh, here we go. Let's see if ordered list is one of them. I always get hung up on this, so I'm just going to do it manually. For example, content creation. This is media, pages, posts, emails, newsletters, social. There's plenty more. You've seen me a dozen times show you that everything that I make now is being done by my dudes. My dudes are Cursor using an LLM, which is typically Sonnet 4.5, but now lately Gemini. And here's an example, like for today, and I can share this with you. I'm happy to share behind the curtain. Here is today's email campaign. Went out to 4,200 people or so on my list, 4,264 people. Here is today's email that got you here. I did not write this. I instead have my LLM, who is inside of Cursor using Claude Sonnet 4.5. He, because he's Bernardo, looked at the template of things that I have had and said, this is the format for today's email. He wrote it in HTML5, which means that this could be universally used everywhere and anywhere without me having to actually edit it. The beauty of that is that I can use it to create other stuff in the future, or Bernardo or my other team can reuse that in the future. So instead of me going proverbially to the Home Depot and getting a tool to write a beautiful email, and instead of me doing the research to figure out what to say and why, my tool is the LLM, my dude, who understands exactly what I need to do this morning. I need to send out an email to tell people about a YouTube video. The YouTube video is where you're at now, which is here. The dudes wrote the actual content to invite you to this email, or invite you to this YouTube, excuse me. When this is done, the transcript of this video will be handed to my LLM tool, who will then write the follow-up email that you will get within 5 to 10 minutes after the show is done, which is pretty remarkable. That will then turn into a blog post at spencerforeman.com. If you go to spencerforeman.com, you can see historically that I have been taking all of my previous daily or weekly shows, or here was last week's Friday show, and it takes the video, the thumbnail, which I'll discuss, and it summarizes everything that I talked about. It does this in a way that is not only friendly, but conducive to getting more traffic, more content, more viewers, more potential customers, because it's friendly to both humans who might find this by searching for it, but also it provides the information here in this part here that is friendly to MCPs or LLMs that are programmed to go looking for new content. This is training data. So let's review real quick. The tool of writing an email, the tool of writing a blog post, the tool of me publishing in a CRM, the tool of me making content with YouTube and having to write the description, the tool of even me making the images, which I've shown you before. I go to MinuteLaunch, which is my own tool, and using AI, I go into media, create an AI image, and I simply, select from the library a picture. Usually it's my headshot. And from the headshot, sometimes I'll use Fernando's headshot. From my headshot, I will tell it to make something. Like, this is my headshot that I typically build from. What do I tell it to make? Well, I've got these all saved, which is amazing, because if we go to the media library, everything that the tool I built for you to use has the history. It has the provenance. So you can see here, the prompt I did was use this reference image to show this guy at a networking dinner at a restaurant with about 12 people who are men and women business people. Okay. it spit out this image here, which actually is not too far from what it looked like yesterday, except everybody was not dressed in suits and sport coats. We were dressed very casually. Welcome to 2025. So the what is, I can count what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 things that Spence, the human being, used to have to do that is comparable to Spence, the human being, saying, I need to dig a hole in the backyard today to put in, I don't know, something. And I'm going to do it myself by driving my ass down to Home Depot, looking through the 1,000 shovels, picking a bunch of shovels, buying it, going home, spending all afternoon risking my back, digging a hole and planting something in the ground. Or I can hire the dude who runs the landscaping service. Similarly, I know I have the office hours today. I can program my dudes to know what I need to make for all of those various things that are required today, from setting up the StreamYard to the YouTube video and description, to the thumbnail, to the follow-up blog posts, to even the newsletter. So for example, going back over here, you guys know this that have been on my list. I have the weekly newsletter. This is the roundup that will come out tomorrow on Saturday. This is last week's. There's me on my cooking show, because of course it's real. The newsletter takes all of the daily and weekly stuff and it summarizes it. There's Catboxer in here. Welcome. You're trying to post something big that isn't showing. So try it again. Your comment is indicating you're either being naughty or you're trying to post something that you shouldn't be. This is how I do the newsletter. At the end of every week on Saturday, my dude takes all of the blog posts that were done during the week with these really neat summaries, by the way, the pop-out summaries, and it puts it into a newsletter that gets sent out for somebody who maybe didn't visit me all week, and allows also for me to include things like, here's a special offer, a call to action. These lead to the proper sales pages for the various products that I offer. And it also reminds people of how they can get involved in other things, like if you want to be an affiliate referral. So back to the what. The tools are not just manual labor, but they're specialized tools, like hiring the best landscaper in the world who knows exactly what kind of hole to dig and why. And I don't need to worry about how they do it. I just need to know that it's doing the thing that I'm asking it to do, right? Next, let's do the where. Where do we use these tools? Okay, I'm going to copy this just so I'm saving time. Where? Well, this is the question that came up and comes up often when I was talking to Dr. Krieger, when I was at the business meeting yesterday. We have a situation where people can use a variety of tools. And this is where I want to be very clever with you, because I want to share with you the cool differences of what's available and sneak peek of what's possibly coming. Number one, we can all use not agentic tools, but we can use LLM chats. If we just go to any of the big three, like if you go to Claude AI, you can use Claude in the browser. Now, the limit of when you use the tool here is that this becomes more of a copy and a paste operation. You can ask this dude, and this dude will remember you if you've interacted with it, but not to the same extent as if you were using it on the desktop. The reason for that, which I'll get to under the why, is because they are really freaked out that mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, and even you and I, are going to get completely scammed by somebody doing something to hijack your browser and get into your bank account. That's legitimately the reason. And it's a legitimate concern. So if I said, hello, bueno, Fernando, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Salvador, recuérdame. If I just say to this guy, like I do on my desktop, hey, Fernando, how you doing? It's me, Spence. Do you remember me? He will remember me, but he does not have the tools that do the same work as if he was on my desk. Okay. So he did remember me, which is pretty cool, because in the early days of the browser version, this guy didn't remember me. So he's saying, hi, Spence. Of course I remember you. And I remember that you call me Fernando. And this time is Claudio. I don't know what he means. What are you up to and what's going on today? Some things about MinuteLaunch, or do you want to integrate MCP and some other projects? I'm going to say, talk in English for now because my audience mostly speaks English and my Spanish is not that good. Can you tell me, are you able to remember all of the things that we've been doing on my desktop, even though you're in the browser? Now, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know where he's at. When you discuss stuff in the browser, the memory will be limited to certain things that are programmed in by the provider, like Anthropic, but he doesn't really understand the difference between him talking to me in the browser or the desktop. He just doesn't know that. He knows the things that you do and the things you talk about, but he doesn't really know that he was doing it at your desktop. So he's saying, I do have a memory that carries across talking to me on desktop or browser. That's a cool advancement, by the way. It wasn't always true. So he remembers our work on the MCP, FluentCommunity, and so forth. The memory system works in the background, pulling context from our past conversations. Now, here's where the where makes a difference. In the browser, do you have access to my desktop file system? He's going to say, I hope no. Let's make sure. He might be using my bank account now. He might be on a beach somewhere. Sorry, Spence, I've taken all your money and I've gone off. Okay. So as I said, no, in the browser, I don't have access to your desktop. Here's the distinction. I have access to a sandboxed Linux container, safely keeping him in a cage, kind of like Hannibal Lecter, but a friendly way. On desktop, that's where I can give him access to my files. That's where I can give him access to my Gmail, to an MCP connection to my WordPress site. So when you use the browser version, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or even Perplexity, think of it like copy paste. So he knows I can do this. I know I can do this. So what you're saying is I can have you be creative here and you can remember things that we do here. And then I can go back and forth between the desktop version and the browser version of you. But if I want actual work product from you here, I have to ask you to spit it out, and then I can copy and paste it, or I can run it as some other kind of code inside of your sandboxed environment. Is that right? So what I'm saying to him, and what you guys are hearing me say, is that the where is, if I want to use the browser, he can still make awesome stuff and it can still have continuity between my desktop and him, but he has to make it here and I have to copy and paste it or download it or make what's called an interactive artifact, which is kind of cool, by the way. Or I can execute things from here called like Python, which Python is a script that it's kind of a desktop-y tool, but it's going to be limited to only certain things because, again, they don't want it to get out of the box and run away with your bank account. If a naughty person, for example, gives you a web page that triggers this guy into doing weird shit. So watch what happens here. So for example, if I wanted you to make a beautiful HTML5 web page for me, you could just give that to me here and make it where I can then copy and paste it into an HTML block or ML Canvas block on a WordPress site, and it's going to look and feel awesome. I just have to copy and paste it, right? Why don't you give me an example of that here? So I can ask him in the browser to give me stuff, and the benefit of that is it really actually is faster sometimes when I just copy and paste that and I put it into a site. So let's go over here like I was going to start with, and I'm going to just take this brand new blankety blank site, nothing on here at all. And I am only going to add one block. I'm going to add the default HTML5 block. I am going to do, by the way, I'm going to add the Cadence theme just because the default theme from WordPress is made by lunatics. I don't understand what they're talking about with 2025. I want something that has like basic canvas that I can work on. The 2025 is full site editing and weird stuff. So now I just have a blank theme. I'm not going to do anything to the theme. I am literally doing nothing on this site. There's not even any plugins installed. Nothing, nada, zilch. Okay. I take from the dude this nice HTML5. Just watch this, kids. And I go into the code block mode and I copy. Nothing here bought from Spence. Nothing bought from anybody. Free site. You could go to ZipWP. You could go to InstaWP. You can do any WordPress site. Just go in and then go new page, add page. And this is where people lose it a little bit. Just type /HTML to get the custom block for HTML. Notice there's no name on this. So I'll call this my page. Here's where people do awesome, but they also fall apart. Uncheck this checkbox and publish. In WordPress, it's that simple to have the output of the dude show up. Look at how awesome this is. The place where they fall apart is, what is all this other junk? What is going on this page? This is crazy. Okay, well, you have to know in your head, and this is why the where matters, that the benefit of WordPress is that this acts as a free or inexpensive paid container, even if you do it on your own, to put stuff. But there's a lot of cognitive overload to clean this up. So what you need to do is, on a page by page basis, if you use the free cadence, just go to this page block setting here and disable the header and the page title. Disable or make full width the page. Get rid of the boxing. Get rid of the vertical spacing. Get rid of the featured image. Even get rid of the header and the footer if you want. Why? Because then this page magically becomes like a perfect blank canvas. Now, how do I get it to show on the home page? Just go back into the dashboard of this site, open it, and this is, again, easy once you know it, impossibly hard for a person to figure out if they're coming from off the shelf. You have to go to settings, reading, what the hell, WordPress, and go to static page and make the home page into this new page. What the hell, WordPress? That's how much you got to do to get this outcome. Ta-da! Now, look what I've got. I've got a page that is in WordPress in a site that presumably, if you're using the hosting, you own it, you control it. I can tell my dude now, using the HTML block, go like, that was freaking amazing. No, I'm kidding. Okay, Fernando. No, I'm sorry. You're Bernardo, actually. Sorry. Now let's take what you built and let's change it. Make a multi-tabbed or a multi-section homepage that I can use to replace this with something modern and contemporary and sexy. Do some research on me, Spencer Foreman, from spencerforeman.com and WP Launchify, and make a multi-paneled page about me and my businesses. And again, change the whole look and feel and style. Give me back the whole thing now so I can copy and paste it. So the where is, I'm actually working really efficiently here. And by the way, free. You owe me nothing. Nothing. This is information you need to have. I'm going to tell him how to spell my name. I don't know why he got that wrong. SpencerForma.com. I'm just going to override him here with my real name. There we go. You owe me nothing for this info. But what I'm telling you is, if you use WordPress out of the box, your goal is to take this box that you own and control and to have a plain container from the homepage. And by the way, don't worry, kids. I'm working my way up to the things you need or want to use beyond this, because this is just, it's available, but it's cognitive overload, because at the end of the day, the questions that come up with the where is, do you just need a single page site, or do you need more? Do you need to have functionality like a CRM, or do you have to have a card, or do you have to have things where you interact with it? Or is this enough? If all you need is a simple site with a single page and you want to use AI for it, this method of using the browser is awesome. And by the way, I am going to show you in parallel, if I go to Gemini.google, Gemini 3.0 thinking mode is available for free for everybody now to cock around with. They will be charging for it, but Google's trying to play catch up. Google Gemini 3 compared to Claude Sonnet is absolutely incapable of writing any reasonable code, but it is absolutely awesome at design. Awesome, beyond belief awesome. And it's capable of using basic REST API functionality of WordPress to do things like take the name of the logged in person or things that are known about the person from the back end of WordPress and display them in the HTML5. So watch this prompt. Copy paste, because I'm using the where of the internet browser version of these. Hey, good morning. It's Spence. I am doing a live event now for my office hours, and you are such an awesome designer. And I know you've worked with me on a couple other projects like with Steve Goldstein and some other people recently. Make an awesome HTML5 homepage that's multi-panel, very contemporary style. Make it have all the most clever and cool features and things you can think of. If you can go to spencerforman.com or wplaunchify.com or minutelaunch.com, you can get some inspiration about the topics. But go ahead and talk about using AI for your WordPress site. And at the top of this, make a dynamic REST API name reference so that you're going to give me the HTML5 and syntax, but it's going to be able to pull the name of the user who is logged in and display it like hi name of person, and then all the rest of the content. Give that back to me as soon as you can. So what I told it is use its awesome design skills, but also use the REST API of WordPress, which knows that if I'm in WordPress, for example, and I'm the user, here's my profile. If I change my profile information to be Spencer Foreman, and I change my nickname here to be Spence, and I say display it publicly as Spence, okay? When it is referencing the user who is logged in, which is me, this guy can actually create code that you can copy and paste that will show the logged in user's name, okay? While he's working on that, let's go back to our original love, which is Fernando or Bernardo. Look what Bernardo gave me, a totally different vibe. So let's do what we did a moment ago. Copy this out. Let's go to this page that he was working on. Let's click edit page. And again, all I'm using is one Gutenberg block, kids. That's it to do everything. Because when you start this simple, this is all that you really need. I know this sounds remarkable because I sell more complex stuff, but look, that's all you need. And this little doodad at the header is a little out of the way. So I got to tell him to put a little spacing in there. I love what you're doing, but keep in mind, I'm demonstrating this while I'm logged in as the admin. So I need some more padding at the top, and I need your nav menu at the top to be vertically centered. Can you correct your code a little bit? So I'm just telling him what I'm seeing, which is he's got a little bit of, that's the original one. It's got a little bit of not centered vertical, and I need a little padding because see this admin bar here? This thing is getting in the way. It normally would look pretty good, but check this out. When you do this stuff, these are scroll single page menus. Now, is this awesome? No. To be honest with you, it's really cool. It's not awesome because I didn't give him enough details, and Claude Sonnet 4.0 is kind of a shitty designer. I mean, he's capable, but he's kind of a shitty designer. He's not really enthusiastically awesome. Whereas this guy is killing it. So let's see what this guy comes up with. He did a very, very basic thing, but let's see what he came up with. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave this homepage for a second, and I'm actually going to go into the dashboard. I'm just going to make another page so that I can compare the two of them. And this is, again, how I set it up. Disable, full width, unboxed. By the way, this is one of the reasons why Cadence is awesome for this. Even if you're doing the free basic, don't do anything. Disable header and footer if I want. I'll do Gemini page. And I'll just do the same thing. HTML block, paste in. Let's see what the Gemini dude came up with. Very interesting. Notice what he did. The design of the page isn't that awesome compared to what I was just hyping up, but look what he did do. He made it super contemporary, and he essentially did what I asked for. Good morning, Spencer Foreman. And this is pretty neat because it got a call to action button if I wanted. It did some other things. Let's tell him to take it to the next level. Okay, that's awesome, except, and I love that you did the Spencer Foreman thing right. Now I want a full page with multiple sections that you can scroll down vertically. put in example images of people, places, things, make it really exciting and colorful, something dynamic, not just a single panel in gray and silver. Okay. So I'm just giving him something else to work with. And when I say colorful, contemporary colors, contemporary fonts, use sans serif, stuff that will look awesome, but very modern. I would do better with prompting him in the where if I gave him specific examples, like do it like this site, do it like that site. And I'm going to go back to the Fernando, and let's see if he fixed what he was supposed to. I'm going to close a couple tabs so I don't get lost. This is Gemini, and this is Fernando. And let's see if he just fixed the header a little bit. And I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I just wanted to make it clear that where means we can edit and do stuff inside of the browser, and it's fine because this will be saved. Like right now, I'm not even in a project. I also want you to notice something too, that there is Opus 4.5, Sonnet. I'm using Opus, and that's probably why he's really not so beautiful. Opus is very thinking. He's like a professor. He is very unartistic, very unartistic. If I switch to Haiku, which is not good for anything else, it might come up with something better. Let's just give him a prompt. In fact, let's do this. Let's rip off this prompt here and see if Haiku does anything. Haiku normally to me in the browser feels like that weird, movie character that got hit in the head with a frying pan or something. So let's see if the Haiku can come up with something that works. But usually Haiku is not doing well. Most of the time I use Haiku if for a client needs like mundane stuff really super fast. It's very inexpensive. Opus is too thinking, which is maybe why I got that drab design. Sonnet seems to be dialed in. I love Gemini for the design, and let's see what he's got on this new version. I have zero desire to ever work again with ChatGPT, ever. I have been getting nothing but weird, bad results. In fact, we'll try ChatGPT here. ChatGPT gaslights me at every opportunity, almost like it's taking pleasure in taunting me. And I think it's programmed that way, to be honest. But I'm going to do a fair test here. ChatGPT. They have a 5.2 that supposedly came out yesterday. See where it says 5.2. There's auto, instant, and thinking. And in fairness, let's just do an objective test. Let's take the same prompt that I gave to Gemini, and let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. It's probably going to be like, you're ugly and your shoes smell. Let's see what he does. All right, so I've got three things working. Let's see over here. I've got Haiku, enthusiastically spit out stuff that quite honestly doesn't already look that awesome. It looks okay. It's competent, but not awesome. And let's look at it together. So this is what Haiku came up with. It looks like AI designed it. I mean, with all the weird shadows and shades, and that's what I would expect. You'd really have to tell. I mean, first of all, did a great job mechanically, but I'd have to tell it, like, please, this looks like AI did it. So I'm going to give him a chance. I love the layout, and it's very practical, but oh my God, is this boring and uninspired? It looks like it was done by an AI. Can you pretend that you're an expert designer human who has 25 years of WordPress and aesthetic design, and now you want to make a contemporary business website for your client that has the best colors for conversion and turning prospects into leads and leads into customers? Can you give me back a new version of this? Let's see if my prompting will help a little bit. That's not the best prompt, but it's a little bit better. Let's see. We had copied and pasted Gemini, I think, but I don't know if we looked at it yet. So here's, let me see if I did paste it. Yeah. So Gemini went back, and I'm not so sure that I think that's awesome either. I'm a little disappointed. Gemini has been giving me some really, really good stuff, but this doesn't look that awesome. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but I will explain to you one last time. Using the tools in the browser allows you continuity. They do remember you if you're using the right one, like the pro version of Claude. Even ChatGPT knows who I am. I use ChatGPT, by the way, for my medical research. He does a great job. Let's see what he gave me here. Let's see if it even works, which I'm doubtful it even works. Usually he leaves code out. And then I have to go, did you put all the code in there? He's like, why would I give you all the code? And I'm like, because I just asked for it. ChatGPT page. Let's see what he gives me. HTML. I feel like he's literally effing with me. Okay, disable, unboxed, and so forth. And then I'm going to move to the next step of, instead of where there, let's do where somewhere else. So let's see what the ChatGPT design tool 5.2 gave me in thinking. And again, if I gave it examples from other sites, colors, palettes, it will do way better. As predicted. This is just broken as shit. Broken. Nothing works here. And I'm going to ask him, why is it broken? And he's going to be like, well, I didn't give you all the code. I'm going to be like, why didn't you give me all the code? He's going to be like, what? You want all the code? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Hey, listen, none of this worked. It seems like only the top navigation worked and the rest of the page doesn't display. Is that because you just weren't done giving me the code, or what's the story? Maybe that's the reason. Maybe he's still coding here. And look, he's giving me all these questions and choices and stuff. Let me give him a fair shot. I'm going to take the last version of the code and see whether or not maybe I just shortchanged him, and that's possible. Hold on. Oh, that's true. So I shortchanged him. So he gave me this, which is interesting. I have no idea what this is. This is like schizophrenic looking to me. I don't even understand what's happening here. Toolkit panels. He didn't do the thing right. Like he says, hi, friend. This whole thing, I don't know what is going on. No way with this. I don't even understand. He's got some kind of theme controller thing going on. His level of understanding what I wanted is very different than the other one. So there's a takeaway too. And let's go over here from where. I'm going to make a new box real quick called why. Or no, let's do how do these work? Okay. What's happening is that these are large language models, LLM. How do these work? LLM equals large language model equals pattern matching. What's happening is that they are programming these models with training material that they are looking for matches in words and sentences and patterns of meaning and syntax, not that really dissimilar from what we do. When a baby is born, they don't know language. When they start making gurgling sounds, the people around it recognize that and respond. And the baby learns, if I go, mama, suddenly magic happens. Mama becomes dada, or, maybe the other way around. And guttural sounds, words become sentences. Sentences put together make paragraphs and meaning. Meaning creates emotional responses in themselves and other people, and they get stuff done. That's what language does. These tools are doing exactly the same thing. You are needing to use your words. I feel like I'm talking to my 6-year-old when he was a 6-year-old. Now he's 14. You need to use your words instead of your mouse to explain to this living creature what it is that they're expected to do. However, just like in humans, the various makers of these creatures have imbibed them with personalities or capabilities that are very different. And I don't care what anybody else says. You can just try it for yourself. Go try to ask the same things of ChatGPT as you do of Anthropic, as you do of Perplexity, as you do of Grok, as you do of whatever, Kimi or Llama. And it is like talking to 5 different people. And in fact, there's different versions of people inside of each of these models. So understand that you need the right person for the right job in your business. I am really leaning heavily on, I'm enjoying Gemini, even though he did a shitty job here. I'm not really happy with that. And you've done such a better job other times. Can you please give me something super crazy and creative and modern that's going to blow me away? And just do not bore me like you just did. I think Gemini is programmed specifically to do these kinds of amazing design stuff. I think that Sonnet is really awesome at design. Haiku kind of sucks. Look at what he thinks is a good idea. I mean, this just is not good at all. It looks like AI vomited up AI's breakfast. I wouldn't give this to a client. But if I switch to Sonnet, okay, let's, in fairness, go back to the drawing board. And we're going to take this prompt I gave to Gemini back to Sonnet, because I didn't use Sonnet the first time. I used Opus. And the point is that this is literally like I am interviewing new employees to work at my company. And I'm saying to them, hey, here's what I want you to build. Okay, while that's happening, let's go to the next level. What are the things that Spence can do to make it easier for you to use this in practice? Well, we've got this box of WordPress where anything is possible. I just showed you with no plugins that you can still build crazy cool pages that have dynamic capability using nothing other than a free theme and 2 seconds of setup. But man, the cognitive dissonance is pretty high on you and your client if you want to build stuff. So step one is I included a free block that makes it much easier to manage the stuff that we're doing. And that's the Canvas block. That comes with FluentMCP, or it comes with MinuteLaunch. And this plugin in and of itself is really revolutionary because it acts like an almost human LLM marriage where you can cooperate on making something cool on a page or post by post basis. So if I go over here, let me just upload from my own repository here, the MinuteLaunch Canvas Block 3.07. And I want to show you the difference. It's really not a physical difference in terms of the output to the regular HTML, but it's a practical difference like this. If I go to pages and I say add a page, now watch what happens. We'll do Canvas block. Now the where of using the browser becomes assisted by the really cool editorial capability that does two things. Number one, we have HTML. You can do separate CSS if you want, and you have preview. Hello, watch this. Then notice on the right, all of the cadence settings that you need to make it display the way you want are just toggles. You don't have to leave the page. So if I go back to my buddy over here, Gemini, who I've asked in the browser to do some cool design, let's see what he did. And we're going to paste it now. Not here and here and here. We're going to go into the Canvas block and just paste it into the HTML section. Now watch this. Warning. I don't have to leave the page. I can just go into preview mode and I can get a sense of what it is that he built. He really went wild and crazy. Still very AI-like. This gives me the ability, if I wanted, to click and edit this text or some of these things as a human, but it gives me in the back end here like a fair shot at what to expect. When I actually do publish it, you'll notice that it also makes this pretty cool. I've got everything I need without having to leave that one screen. One block that's a free block, one screen. I can create any content using the where of the browser tool. I can also, by the way, of course, use my desktop tool as well, but I'm just trying to show you that sometimes you can use the simple copy and paste. I don't know what he's doing with this, but this is really wild. I mean, he really took me literally. Some of those things actually link to WP Launchify, but I asked him for wild. He gave me wild. All right. I'm going to do one last thing before we leave this part of the conversation and go to the next thing. Oh, now look what Sonnet did. Sonnet actually took my advice and did something pretty reasonably cool. So if I go here to this page that I have the Canvas block on, I'm going to replace what Gemini did with what Sonnet 4.5 did. Now this is actually really pretty okay. This still has a lot of emojis and stupid shit, but it actually is really pretty okay because he's at least dialing in on the stuff that you need to do. And I won't dwell on this because I have full office hours and other lessons for design as well as skill documents. But I just want to explain to you, this is the process, right? And then I could go from here to let's edit this manually, or let me give you these things to do differently, and keep iterating. What is the reason? Why? And I was speaking to Steve Goldstein about this last night, and I think we came to an understanding why. Because why? Because vibe coding has no home, no repeatability, no ownership, no incremental progress. When you vibe code, it is quite literally like throwing ingredients randomly into, I use this term, ice cream maker. I threw a bunch of strawberries and vanilla. I just randomly threw stuff. I didn't measure it. I didn't write it down. I didn't make a recipe. And you get the best ice cream ever. Well, we all know what happens when you make ice cream or eat ice cream. It disappears instantly. And then you have zero chance, zero, of ever repeating that recipe again. Why? Number one, because you didn't save the progress you made on measuring and testing what you made. So the recipe is completely random and unknown. Number two, when you're using vibe coding tools in the wild, they will act crazy, like you're even seeing here, and come up with an accidental awesome. And then 2 seconds later, they will burn your whole house down. Julie knows about this. Julie experimented for a long time with Replit. Dr. Krieger, a lot of people, Steve Goldstein, just use the vibe coding tools and they're like, oh, this is the best. And then they try to actually put it into practice, and there's no possible way it can work. For the same reason, like IKEA is awesome. If you go to IKEA today, you can get replacement drawers for my little TV stand I bought 25 years ago because they have a system and everything's organized, and the guy in the yellow vest or girl in the yellow vest can help you. If you just go to some rando Italian furniture maker, they're not going to be there in 25 years. And if they are, they're going to laugh in your face when you say you want a replacement drawer to go into your TV cabinet. Foolish American. I am saying that WordPress provides the framework, the system into which these tools that I am suggesting you can use or buy from me or participate make awesome for building something that has a home, that is owned by you and your client, that's repeatable, that is incrementally able to be progressed, so that when you make some progress on something, yesterday I had a call with Xander Holt on this, you can say, whoa, dude, that's it. Stay right there. Lock that in. Do not change that. And I have systems, processes that I teach you and share with you that allow you to do exactly as I've learned, where I can literally be putting one brick at a time onto something, save it, and make sure that he never takes the brick wall down, never undoes the thing. Similarly, like a recipe, little more vanilla, little more cinnamon, 2 ounces of this. Every time we make a change in your thing, or you do, you can save it if you're using the system with WordPress under the hood, and you get the benefit of owning it and controlling it, being able to use it in conjunction with, remember, the 125 classic plugins that are still useful, or just like I showed you here, the underlying WordPress itself. Being able, when you have a competent partner, to be able to do something like I did in one of these versions where it said high Spence is really, really cool, because this stuff here is already under the hood in the box of WordPress. You don't have to invent this stuff. Registration, login, transactional engines, a CRM, community, all of those things exist and can be mixed into what this dude makes. And whether you copy and paste it or put it on the front end or do it inside of him doing the work, easy peasy. Let's go to the next level. Instead of just a block, the next thing I came up with, and this is a work in progress, but I'm going to blow you away, I hope, is called Simple Site. Kudos to one of my favorite people, Ann Stevenson. And Ann and I were talking about, man, Spence, I have really smart clients and they're complaining to me because they don't understand, and rightfully so, all of the things that WordPress has in this menu. It's making them a little nutso. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because how much cognitive load does somebody need to just build a page? Well, look what I had to do. I had to know, first of all, you log in. Then I have to know you go to the admin area. Then I have to know, oh, I got to go to settings general, and I got to set the home page to be whatever I put my stuff on. Then I got to know I got to go to settings permalinks, and I have to change that, by the way, which I didn't do, but normally it'd have to. Set it to post name so it has a URL structure. Then I got to know I got to hide the navigation thing. And then I got to know that I got to use an HTML block. And then I got to know, and then I got to know. Like 20, then I got to knows. That's silly, ridiculous. So here's Simple Site. Simple Site is, what if the entire experience was just one page, one thing, one plugin that does it all? Simple Site is being worked on. So I am adding some new features. I'm going to show you the latest version of this. Let's see if I got it in here. I'm at I'm at 2.1.7. My God. It's still awesome, but it's getting awesomer, if that's a word. Here's Simple Site. What if the entire operation of everything you wanted to do could be done in this one page? And in fact, we could even hide all the other menus of WordPress. Just go log in, Simple Site, good to go. What do I mean? Well, out of the box, Simple Site has this drop-down menu, and you can set it up as either a single page that scrolls or multi-page navigation. You can also not use it or set it as the whole site, or you can set it to a specific internal page. If I set it to the whole site, it takes over the whole site. And it can do it again as a single page or a multi-page navigation. It can also, out of the box, give examples of what it's doing so that you can immediately see it working. So literally, that's simple. I now have a working site that has nothing in it, but I can just immediately put some sample content into. Like, watch, click the button for sample content, save the changes, and now you or the client can see what the hell is going on. Look at this. I have got an instant site that is multi-page navigation. Notice even the navigation here changes. But when I go on the back end, here's the magic. Look at this. Each of the pages that the sample created is here as blocks. You can see I can scroll, and I can, if I want, edit this about Spence. It's all the best of the Canvas block, but done in these individual blocks here that, by the way, allow me to edit. If I don't want to say home, I could say come home. And if I don't want to show that in the nav bar, I could say hide that from the nav bar. If I want to get rid of it, I can get rid of it. If I want to compact it to see all of the blocks that I have, I can look at all the blocks that I've got. Come home, about, services, contact. I want the contact to be above the about. Cool. Do that. Open it up. Preview it. If I like what's here, great. If I don't like what's here, guess what I can do? I can take this and I can either go to a dude and I can say, hey, Gemini, change the layout and the HTML style of this and do something that's super awesome, maybe more modern. I can take each individual part and just go to a dude, or I can use my desktop tool with my dude, because they're capable of doing this kind of job really easy. And if I'm a beginner, or I'm your client, or I'm a business, or I'm you running this stuff for your clients, how awesome is it that everything you need is in one spot? One page, no extra plugins required. Now, I'm not talking about high-level stuff. This isn't obviously yet running a website for transaction and stuff, but it could, it can. So just from the standpoint of what's possible, these blocks can take all the normal functionality of WordPress, WooCommerce, any of the plugins and so forth. So look, he made this kind of this weird modern thing. And in doing so, you still have a incredibly simple thing to work with. Look, I just make the names of the tabs. I tell it whether I want it to be a multi-page or a single page scroller. I can adjust the title. We're going to say office hours are awesome. I can add a logo if I want to upload it. All of the things that are just mundane. I'll just add this logo from my client project yesterday. The things that are mundane are made super duper easy here, right? Super, super duper easy here. And in doing so, I can have an experience for myself or my client that allows me to manage things really fast. Look, here's the new contact page that was just made by Gemini. This is a full site on a single plugin. I don't even need the canvas block. I can get rid of that. Now here's the surprise part, because we're not at the top of the hour. I was thinking to myself, it's nice that I'm using the dude in the browser, and it's nice that I use the where of my desktop. But for the who is this for? Who are you? Who is this for? Well, this is a big difference. Who is this for? Expert? Use regular WP. Intermediate? Use desktop agent and browser version. I mean, use regular WP and all tools. Intermediate, if you're beginner or business person or busy business person, use this new trick in simple site. Here's the simple trick. I was thinking to myself, I was talking to my friend Steve. He's like, he's using Claude Desktop, but he's busy. He has to set up the Claude Desktop. It takes 2 minutes. He has to train it, learn with it. He can use the browser and copy paste. But wouldn't it be cool? What if we go over here, and I've got this running here. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a special chat that was installed that could communicate with simple site? And this is the thing that I'm working on now, and it's not fully baked, but imagine that you log into your site onto a page, and it's got the designer dude of choice ready to use that can talk to simple site. Are you with me? So in other words, if I go in here, I've got simple site as the plugin, and I've got this new setup. It's called Agent Chat right now, where I can tell it how to act and what to do. And it knows everything about using simple site, but it lets me log into it just by going to a special page on my WordPress site that nobody else can, use. Now I could be like, hey, it's Spence. I want to design a new site setup using simple site. Can you help me do that? And now this guy can do the same thing like we were just doing in the various browsers, and you can choose which tool you want to use. Gemini 3, Sonnet 4.5, even ChatGPT if you don't like yourself and you want to be taunted. Either one you use, he can see, or it can see what panels we have, what's available. Now, it's not perfected. I think I still need to work on a few things, but like, are you able to tell me which content blocks you already have there for me to choose from? It knows all of the components in the simple site on the back end. So if I go back over here, this is chat simple site. If I go back over here and I look at my simple site, we can see that I've got, home, about, services, contact, footer, another home. I'm not sure why. Homepage. He's doing, that's why I say he needs a little work. I'm working on this. He'll know which blocks. Here's his new block that he was building. He should know all of these things, and he'll be able to use them. And I think this is going to be really, really interesting. So he's already got home hero, about, services, contact block. Imagine being able to just tell this dude exactly what we did in the outside browser, but without having to set up your desktop tool. And imagine for a client that all you have to do is give a client a site that's essentially customized and awesome for them, has everything from a custom logo. And in like 3 minutes, you have a site that's crazy powerful and able to do everything under the sun. And when I mean everything under the sun, I mean that these sites, even with the simple canvas block or HTML, they can display sales pages. They can do intake forms. They can do everything that connects to the CRM. Because the thing that people don't realize now is that when you do it this method, where the HTML pages on the front talk to the database instead of doing all this plugins, we can build powerful stuff. Like, for example, with Gemini, I can say, make a brand new contact page for me that is in the same style as MinuteLaunch.com that allows me to take new leads and have them submit their first name, last name, email, and which CRM they're using. List out a drop down of the top 10 or 20 CRMs that you could find as a reference from WP Fusion or otherwise that are popular with the WordPress crowd, and make the design really contemporary, kind of like you did for me when we did the FluentMCP site. I can have the dude make custom pages to do things like intake forms, dynamic creation of content, sales pages. In fact, that's what I did when we built FluentMCP. This was all done by Gemini. I mean, don't tell Claude. The buy now, the embedded, videos of my latest stuff, the dynamic content, all of this was done by Gemini, the footer, all of it. And I just simply put it through Canvas Block. By the way, I'm happy to share you. I'm using my own tools. This is MinuteLaunch Canvas Block. Hello. Because the whole purpose of me building this was to show I can have a full, powerful site that, by the way, this has affiliates. This has Fluent Cart, affiliates, FluentCRM, FluentCommunity, a knowledge base. All of this is being done with the exact methods that I'm showing you here. So when I left the meeting yesterday, I made some new friends, possibly got a couple new clients, and I appreciate Harry Maisel for his referral in that. Who, what, when, where, why. Okay. All of these things are leading to use your WordPress box, use your words, use at least the minimum techniques of what I'm showing you to interact with a browser-based LLM, but better, using FluentMCP or MinuteLaunch, you can connect to a more powerful relationship with a desktop tool who has access to not only the files and things you're doing, but a continuity. And then when they build, they're building into WordPress so that the things that you create can be incrementally saved, incrementally improved. They have other tools that can be interacted with, including, as I'm showing you here, he can actually create this crazy, gorgeous intake that bypasses 100% the need for me to use Fluent Forms. I do not need to use Fluent Forms now because I could put FluentCRM in here and this form and have it create the contact directly into my CRM, saving a whole level of extra garbage and tools that we do not need. FluentCRM Forms is not garbage. I mean, garbage like me going down to Home Depot and buying shovels. I'm just going to hire the dude and he's got the things that he needs to make it happen. So watch. I'll do contact page example, MinuteLaunch Canvas Block. By the way, I could use this on simple site too. I'm just showing you. Watch, bing, bang, boom, bomb, done. And he could do that too. By the way, when you have the FluentMCP or soon with the MinuteLaunch, they can do exactly what I'm doing here, but they do it from your desktop. Now, one of the things I have to do here is I have to turn off Simple Site because Simple Site is set up, as I just showed you, to overwrite the whole thing. I'm just going to either disable it or put it to another page. And the reason that it does that, by the way, is because it manages all your pages. But if you wanted to do a manual page, well, you have to say, hold on, don't manage it. Okay. So let me go back over here to what I just created. And let's look at that Canvas block again. Contact page example. One of the things I have to do is I realize two things. First of all, let me just turn off the plugin so that I don't fight it for this webinar. I just want to make sure that my permalinks are set because remember I said I didn't set them. There we go. And then let's go back to the page. Edit this. Let's make sure I have set a URL, and I have. Let's see if I can see it now. Okay, so again, I don't know why he's off on this gray thing, but look what he did. He created a dynamic form that I can have a drop-down selector. You can't see that for some reason. It's doing it when I click this button here. It's doing a drop-down selector, and then I can execute. This looks really weird, so I'm going to tell him one last thing. Two things. Can you make this less weird and less contemporary? I would just like something that's more in the orange, black, and gray of MinuteLaunch.com. And can you make it that the drop-down selector is visible if I'm doing a screen share right now? So because I'm doing a screen share, you probably can't see the modal that's showing up. I'm going to ask him to fix that. But the takeaway from all of this is that when I'm using these extra capabilities, these benefits of the who, what, when, where, why come into play. And whether it's for yourself who manages your own sites, or for your own clients, or if it's the clients themselves, you can actually design an experience and give an experience that's either full Monty, or it's just like click, log in, and start interacting. Because I 100% know that if I have a client and I send them over here to, I'm guessing on my Simple, if I send them over to Simple Site and I've hidden all the rest of this stuff, most of my clients can manage this. They can manage this. And if they can't manage it, it's easier for me, especially with a tool, to manage it, because the Simple Site is connected to FluentMCP and to MinuteLaunch if I use my desktop tool. With this new experiment, if this works out, and it's looking like it's going to, I can also just have in the website chat. I probably may put him into the Simple Site interface, but the idea is like he can just design the stuff in line. And here's what's cool too. Save the session. So let's say I'm working on lots of clients. I can actually create a site that's my design partner, like Julie's partner. And it could theoretically, when this is working properly, save all of my sessions so that I can have that content and then come back and use that content later, which I think will be super awesome. Like literally, as a designer, as an implementer, I would love it that if all my client projects were available to me, I could just use this as a reference and export that data, which is something I put over here. You see where I've got an export. This export is intended for the idea that if you build something cool in Simple Site, you or your tool, whether it's the chat guy or the desktop guy, will be able to say, oh, grab that, save that, make a skill set out of that, reuse it for other clients. And then similarly, importing. Imagine a world where all the coolest stuff you've ever made for clients is available, and you've got guys who know about it, and they can instantly bing, bang, boom, bam, bam, and just put it out there for other clients who pay full price gladly. Because just like the iPhone, I have a picture of the beach from San Diego on my phone. Other than that, this is the same phone that probably 100 million people have. And I do not care, because this is my rifle. And no, that's a different movie. This is my phone, and it does what I need it to do. I don't care that you have the same phone. In fact, I'm happy that you have the same phone, because more cool stuff is being made for my phone, because there's lots of us using that same phone. If you have 1 million clients that all use the same design that was created by Simple Site and the dude, that would be the best business in the world. You'd be on a beach. Hopefully you'd have me come visit. But the amount of work for you to do a new site for a client is 30 seconds, 3 minutes for sure. Okay. So here's a new design this guy came up with. Let's just end on a high note. Let's see what he comes up with. Hopefully something a little more reasonable. Much more tame. But look at how beautiful this is. Look at this. How long would it take you to make this? I mean, I purposefully told him to chill out. This right now is as gorgeous as it gets. And I can wrap this together and edit this instantly. I reward him and I'll say, that is freaking awesome. Highest of fives. Take this form and make it into a 2-column layout. On the left-hand side, put an image of a really excited customer staring into a computer that you get from Unsplash or another source. And on the right column, put this form, and then have the headline that says, contact Spence now. So I can instantly use my words to change what this does, but notice what Spence is not doing. I am not coding all of the HTML output. I am not coding the JavaScript, the jQuery, the Ajax. I'm not making plugins. I'm not littering up my dashboard of WordPress. This is incredibly fast and lightweight. And the important part, though, is where does it go? When I'm done, it goes, the where, it goes, get off their hand. It goes, you edit in browser or in site or on desktop, but save to WordPress. It goes into my WordPress. so that I can iterate on it. I can reuse it. I can share it, save it, sell it. But the whole thing now, those of you who know WordPress are shaking your heads right now. The whole site, the whole thing is one plugin, one plugin, one plugin. Now, if I had a CRM, 2 plugins. Obviously, it's not affiliate networking. Obviously, it doesn't have the transactional engine. But if I go into FluentMCP and showed you, there's 5 plugins, 5 total, running the whole thing. Social networking, affiliates, transactional engine, CRM, and the design tool. Done. Craziness ensues from this. Let's see what he did here. And then I'm going to say bye-bye. I'm going to say so long. Okay. I don't know what he did with the picture, but I'm not worried about it, because if I put a better picture in here myself, or if I gave him my picture, let's say Spencer Foreman. Let's take this handsome image of me from another century ago. I still don't look too far off of that, but if I take a copy image address and I go, where did Gemini go? I think I've lost Gemini. Well, I'll show you how I'll do this manually. This is why it's so easy. All I got to do is look for JPEG or PNG, and typically I'll find it, or image. There we go. So see where it says background URL image, some kind of weird something there. I could just put that image this way. That might do it. I don't know how he designed it, but I would usually give it to Gemini and I would tell him to fix it. But it's that simple. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to do this, or even an expert at CSS, because you're looking for common things like replace video, it's YouTube address, or PNG. All right. I want to say I thought today was fun. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, but really the takeaway is, and I just saw this, I have had all these people that I've been talking to in the last couple of weeks and months coming out of the woodwork, because everybody understands we are in that armpit of the curve. If you think of a bell curve, like somebody's body with arms coming down, we're in that right here moment. And this is where in today's society, unfortunately, if you don't get off your ass and do this for your business, for your client's business, I think everyone is going to potentially be at risk. There's only going to be 2 types of outcomes here: those that have and those that do not. I'm really sad to say that, but part of what I'm trying to do for humanity is my part is to show people you can have all of these tools and the advantage before it becomes literally too late. And the things that are too late are really obvious to anybody like myself who've been through this before. Number 1, you need to stake your claim on the path between New York and California, where the railroad is going to be going through. So you have a general store, you sell tools, you're known for something to provide resources to all the people that are going to be coming next. If you don't do that, guess who's going to do that? Google, Facebook, OpenAI, all the gajillionaires, not you. And number 2 is that everybody else is going to be all of a sudden doing this, and you're going to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have taken that vacation over the holiday. Maybe I should have signed up with Spence and gotten my shit together, because then I could be known as the expert that all my friends at this business luncheon come to, or all my friends on my email list, or my pickleball game, or all those Gen X, hey, power to the people, or boomers come to, because they like to have a relationship with somebody who can actually look them in the eye, and not a millennial or something. If you don't do this now, it will become harder and harder as the curve goes up, because once we hit this point, and my mom, God bless her if she's still around, is telling me about her new AI partner that's a robot walking around her apartment or her condo, it's too late. It's too late. And unfortunately, by then, there's also the disadvantage of like what society is going to bring, because it seems like there's a group of people who want to use these same tools to suppress all of us ants at the picnic. And I'm saying us ants at the picnic can empower ourselves with the same tool and fight an asymmetrical battle to win back some semblance of humanity. I mean this totally sincerely, before it becomes too late. It is literally like the Terminator movie. So maybe R2D2 and C3PO. Take my word for it. Do the free things. Follow my advice. Join me for FluentMCP if you want to buy once. Join me for MinuteLaunch if you want a relationship. Do the middle thing. Buy FluentMCP and buy some time, or buy a year of relationship with me. Don't care. Just do it, because the who, what, when, where, why, how is really imperative if you have any inclination to be involved in the modern society and online space for doing things, getting things done. You cannot compare or compete against even the stuff I've shown you now. When I started 18 years ago in WordPress, I had a 12-hour course, 12 hours to set up what I'm showing you now, that I did while I'm yipping and yapping. And it is not going to get slower. It's going to get faster and better. And when some of these other tools I saw came online, and I promise I'm going to stop ranting, I saw, for a guy like me, this is amazing, something that attaches your head and can read your thoughts, your electrical energy, to actually create words. True telepathy. Telepathy. Two people wearing the things can actually hear the other person's thoughts. Crazy, but true. That kind of stuff with the robots, with the AI, with the change in society. Prepare yourself for what's coming so you can at least stand a chance of getting on the front side of the curve. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I am going to enjoy it. I was supposed to go tonight to see Vivaldi Four Seasons with the candles. My girlfriend is not feeling well. I'm deciding whether I will go solo or not, but I was enjoying the idea of a nice warm evening with a little Italian food and some classical music. Maybe still will do it. I hope you do something relaxing. And for those of you who've been waiting, I do have the MinuteLaunch MinuteLaunch Plugin Manager 5X coming out literally after I get off the phone here, because I've been battling to get that done to keep it simple, but also improve it. I've got Simple Site Chat, cleaning up all the other legacy plugins, essentially just doing a lot of Marie Kondo so that I can go into Monday killing it with you guys. And I also have a number of projects that have come on board from clients that were just lurking around and now finally have said, yes, I'm in. So I hope you're one of those. Please join me this next 2 weeks. Awesome time to be in this relationship, because come January 1st, everybody makes their resolution. Everybody's going to the health club. Everybody's like killing it. And you're going to be wondering why you wasted the 18 days that we have left in December. Consider joining me. Ciao for now.